Have you ever crafted a fresh new speech and struggled to learn, memorise and embody the words? Was it difficult for you to present it confidently? It used to be very difficult for Tom Hobbs. The man in the hat will share with you the story skills that will forever change how you craft speeches. You will learn the 3 steps for successfully presenting your words with confidence. Tom Hobbs, the man in the hat, has spent over 9 years of intense mentorship in the art of storytelling, which he has distilled into one powerful shortcut, including the story skills that you can use starting today. You will learn HAT, HAT, the 3 steps to presenting with story. Please welcome Tom Hobbs, the man in the hat from Denver, Colorado.
Anytime you can start off a presentation and have slides running in advance so everybody's getting in the mindset, go for it. Go for it. Give Sean a hand. He's going to help a lot. Second most important thing of a presenter that you can learn, so you can kill the audio a little bit, pretty loud, is there's a thing called a B, called a blank button. Yes. Ellie, if you had been with me, I was on the largest dance floor of any dance floor on any cruise ship at that time. The Queen Mary 2. Live band. The best dance music ever done. Big band music. In the Mood, yes, by Glenn Miller. I'm dancing. Now in America we call it swing. But I was with a handful of ladies from Britain on this cruise ship, and in Britain, they jive, which isn't, 180 beats per minute. This is 210 beats per minute, and we are going. Beautiful music, Glenn Miller, and all of a sudden I felt Fiona. Fiona's a young lady; she was doing really well, and we're having a blast and going, and I felt something shift. Fiona, are you all right? I'm fine, Tom. Keep going. Oh, I'm looking around the cruise ship for the cruise doctor, because I don't know what's going on. Keep going, Tom. Fiona was only about 83 at the time. We were having a blast going, and we completed the song. And my job as a dance host, complete the song. We escort the lady back to her chair, let her sit down. Then go find the next individual to dance with. Not this time. Fiona pulled me down. She proceeded to tell me what outfit she was wearing, the kind of stripes on her husband's suit, the color of his carnation, the pub where they danced to In the Mood with Glenn Miller 63 years earlier. We can kill that. Beef for like. And yeah, I felt that too. Well, for the whole rest of the trip, you see, my job was to work as a dance host on cruise ships. I got to dance with the solo traveling ladies in exchange for a free cruise. Pretty good gig. Well, for the whole rest of the trip, she started bringing her daughter and her 3 granddaughters to our dance classes. They started learning how to ballroom country dance, some Latin dance. Then I'd see them out afternoon tea, see them at the shows. But every night, Fiona came back to evening dance. Sometimes her daughter, sometimes her granddaughter. She always came. At the end of the trip, marvelous. Get to that point where you're giving hugs and kisses goodbye to everybody, and she pulls me aside again. Tom, I loved all the shows that we got to see. The food, it's the Queen Mary, the food was marvelous. What I got to see my daughter and granddaughter do and meet and learn to dance and do was marvelous. But those 3 minutes on the dance floor made my trip. show up for somebody else for 3 minutes of your time? I think we all can. I've practiced it ever since. That story. What connected for you? Give it a shout out. What connected for you? I heard more than one gasp in the room. What connected for you? Back corner.
I went on a cruise ship to dance, and there were no dance men, and I said to the entertainment officer, "Where are the men to dance? Where's the man to dance with the single women?" And he drew himself up to his full height and he said, "It's not that sort of cruise."
So she was on a cruise ship that did not have dance hosts at that time. Not all cruise ships, not all cruise lines do. But it's a memory that might have been better for her. That story. What else connected? Up here, so somebody.
I took memories.
The memories.
The memories of going back to
Yeah.
memories of childhood, memories of being happy and stuff. Really connected through dancing, you lift your feet up, you're free.
Yeah. So Jillian connected with the memories and dancing and other times. Yes. Yes. There's one more thing in there. It's common. Shout out. What else? What else? Yes.
An 83-year-old who was special.
Penny says that she saw or heard that I made an 83-year-old lady feel special. Well, I would. I did. And yeah. But that's one thing for me. Yeah, it was good. What's the common of these three things that everybody mentioned here? What? The story, yes. Why does it pop back? Feelings. The emotion. Emotions stick. Emotions stick. Anybody who's a salesperson, no emotions sell. Facts write the check. But emotion sells. Emotions stick. Now I practiced on these cruise ships for years. It's a blast. Amazing stories. I came and found Toastmasters so that I could improve my storytelling skills and share this with people. And I found a challenge to write out my presentations. Any newer Toastmasters have a challenge getting all your words in the order you want? Yeah, I see a few trepidation hands. You can put them up. It's okay, we know. Those who have spoken a few more times, do you find it challenging sometimes to remember all the words that you want to share with everybody? Yes. So first timers, take note. Lark's up here going, yeah, I know too, because we do. Well, I was struggling. I reached out to others. What's some of the methods that we've tried to learn a presentation? What's a technique, John, that you've tried over the years?
By roast.
Practice and practice in front of a mirror. One of your best audiences? Good feedback? Yeah. I've got a friend, he practices talking to his pet bird. I'm not sure. Anybody do video work on yourself? Chris, what do you use?
No, not video, but it's just body actions to sort of like cue different parts of speech.
So he practices body actions. He walks or he dances, something. Yeah, all of those, I've tried them. I got better. Then I tried learning storytelling from a friend, and we go storytelling in classrooms for kids. Oral storytelling, not reading a book, but a story. Boy, I got better. Still struggle. I wrote some books on storytelling and speaking, and I dove in deeper and I studied storytelling and I got easier. But until I really sat and did storytelling at an elder care center, the seniors, and realized all they really want, all any of us really want, is somebody to show up for them. Just be there. Tell your story as you remember it. Describe that event. Clicked. And now I remember it all. It's easy to do. Now, my struggles got tough. You know, I practiced, many of you know I'm past district governor. I played in Toastmasters all the level up. Not as far as Lark has. I'm not that golden. I don't live in a lighthouse. I do put up lights for a living, though. That's a common thing. But I reached out to mentors. So many that we know. Darren LaCroix is a big mentor of me. Mark Brown, the voice of Toastmasters. They're willing to share. And this is a tool that Mark shared with me, Mark Brown. And I'm going to share it with you. This is one of the few times that you'll have a presenter ever say, grab your phone. This is actually a camera. Grab your camera. It's a really fancy camera if it can actually call people once in a while. But everybody, find your phone, find your camera. If you don't have one, share with somebody else. Go ahead and pull it out. And what we're going to do is you're going to look up your photographs. Find where you have your photographs, your gallery. Go ahead and everybody grab a camera, grab your phone, or sit next to somebody. And Tony, you're going to do something I know you use. What's a memory stick that you use? Now, some people do Braille memories. I have a friend who does audio Evernote. So what we're going to do? So everybody, you got your camera, okay? Of the last 7 photographs. Of the last 7. Yeah, I know you were going down looking for the perfect one. Yes. Of the last 7, pick one. Pick one. Turn to somebody near you and tell them why you took that photograph. Now, we don't need a novel. You have 15 seconds. Turn to somebody and tell them why you took that photograph. Of the last 7, about 4 times you can hear my voice. That was a bonus. That's another tool for a master of ceremonies to get your attention. I learned tricks from teachers who teach 7-year-old boys. They know how to get attention. Cool. So what happened there? What was it about the photograph that generated a conversation? Think about that a little bit. Yeah. Hands coming up? You had an emotional connection to it.
Shock.
I'm not going to go back and look at the photograph. Now, I'm not asking anybody to divulge or share what your photograph was at this moment. Okay. But who had a photograph that just really was surprised you or surprised a partner? Who had a photograph that you're willing to talk about? Yes.
He had a photograph of a car because he rented it this morning and he just wanted to make sure there were no dents in it.
Emotional connection. You might have to write it in a financial check.
Financial.
Who else had a surprise? Who had a photograph that just was not what you... Yes. Are you willing to play? Don't tell me what the photograph is. Are you willing to play? Just say yes. I learn a lot from teachers. Oh, man. I take my hat off to educators all the time. They put up with things that most of us can't. Barbara, my first name's Tom, and your first name is? Name badges are important when you're at a conference. Yes. Please keep printing them in large font. Okay, so don't even worry about the photograph for a moment. So Barbara, let's grab the microphone over here. Because it does give clarity for everybody in the room. So Barbara, this ramp is fun. Okay. Give me me on this side. So I
But
can-
dance too.
Marvelous, marvelous. Right up here. So Barbara, think about the photograph,
Mm-hmm.
but how was your day before the moment you took the photograph? What was going on? How did you feel before the moment of time you took the photograph?
Well, I was here to meet people, so we found a room that had a sign meet and greet on it, so Christine and I went into that room, and I found out something exciting, and I had to take a photo.
Okay. So what was the feeling of the things that was going on before the photograph? Now you're in a special room.
Well, it was, I'm here to meet people, because there's hardly anyone, there's sort of 1 or 2 people in this room that I know, because I'm an Aussie. So I thought, go and find some people to meet. So it was apprehension, I guess. Will they talk to me?
No anticipation of finding somebody that would be fun to talk to?
Yeah.
Cool. Now, after the photograph, how was it different after the photograph? How did you feel after that moment in time?
I was really excited. Now, some people probably think I'm stupid for being excited about this, but I was excited.
Yeah. So you went from a pretty cool day, a little anticipation, to excitement.
Yeah.
Is that something you'd love to hear more about? Yes. And we're going to say yes and throw our hands up in here. So is that something you'd like to hear more about? Visually, Barbara, there's an interest.
Yeah.
An interest. And was this just a phenomenal day in your life? Did it just blow every other day out of the world of your whole life?
Well, it was up there.
Okay.
It was crazy when you hear what it is.
It was she always tries to get in front of her. So it was a good moment in time, a good day in life.
Yes. Yeah.
But it wasn't the day you won the Nobel Peace Prize, was it that day?
It was something I didn't anticipate at all seeing here.
So there's still enough interest that people want to hear about that. One more time, raise your hand if you'd like to hear more. See how visually that happened? Okay. This is a simple moment in time. So now that you see that before you had a pretty cool day, little anticipation, maybe a little nervousness, and yet after this moment in time, you had a level of excitement that exceeded the morning. Okay? How do you think that could translate to an audience or someone else and help them change?
Well, they might become interested in what this is all about.
Okay, so somebody else might have an
Have
opportunity.
some curiosity.
Curiosity and interest. Is anybody interested in buying some interest or curiosity?
There should be a lot. I'm sorry I can't remember your name, but the lady who told me that this was going on, was, I think Catherine was just as excited as me. Now Catherine knows what's about.
Okay, so now do we see how easy it is to remember that moment? Did we ever share what the moment in time was to the audience? Okay, okay, give me a couple of shouts out. Barbara's not divulging it yet. What do you think that moment in time was? Someone in the back room, give me a quick shout out. What do you think the moment in time was? Because we're moving forward.
Don't ask Catherine because she knows.
Okay, Catherine. What do you think that moment in time was? And it could be anything, but what did you see in your picture, your storyline? Chris, what did you see?
I saw the entrance to the mirror, the entrance to the looking glass.
Oh, through the looking glass. So you saw that
Yeah.
because you were here at this event today, so you associated today, okay? Halfway up, what was somebody else? What else did you see? What did you envision? What was your storyline coming into? Yes?
I thought they were in the wrong place.
That could be the
I've
excitement.
seen something unexpected, they're in the wrong place.
Yes. I've had that a few times when husbands show up.
I think, no, I'm not going to say that one. I think that she could have met somebody in the meet and greet room that made her feel excited. A Toastmaster from District 72 or somebody else.
Somebody else, yeah. She might have a date tonight we don't know about. Up here in the front. Tony, what do you envision?
I think it's something Australian that she wasn't expecting to see before.
It matches up a little bit with something that I do in Australia.
Yeah. So is there any one right answer when you hear a story? Is there? But Barbara, how easy it is to remember that moment? Pretty clear?
Oh, it's pretty good, yeah. Yeah, I got photos to prove it.
Okay, Barbara, reveal, tell us what that picture was at. What was that moment in time?
Outside the meet and greet room, there is a shrub where there, and I've had a mental block, the variety, but there are butterflies monarch butterflies hatching as we speak. And I saw one that still had its wings still all wet, and in the half hour I was watching it, the wings dried. And if I give you my background, I'm a gardener and I grow the shrubs that the Cairns birdwing butterflies breed in, and they're called birdwings because they're big. So I get a thrill every time I see a cocoon for a birdwing butterfly, but I've never seen one actually hatching out. And we stood there for half an hour watching this little butterfly still all wet, with its wings all together, and it gradually opened up. And the shrub, do not touch any of those cocoons because they're an endangered species. So the shrub's full of butterfly cocoons.
Wow, you're right. Not what I expected. Was anybody else going for butterfly? Oh, she's sure, yes.
It's on the grounds here. If I tell you, you promise you won't promise. In the room that's got meet and greet on the door, there's some comfortable lounges. You just go out that door and there's, what are they called? A winter bush or something? Right. And it's got these little tiny shiny chrysalis. And Catherine, thank you for telling me all this. When the chrysalis turns black, it means that the butterfly's about to be hatched. So don't touch, there go with your hand behind your back and have a look at that shrub. You go outside and
Awesome. See, there's a story of a bird. Barbara here, thank you for having So just from our cameras, and I call these cameras more than I call them phones because actually so many of us use them more for a camera. And then we have to find a 14-year-old kid to teach us how to type. They're important to us, otherwise we wouldn't take that photograph. And those moments in time. So here's an opportunity for you to mentor newer Toastmasters thinking, I don't have a subject to speak on. Open up your phone. 500 pictures, pick one. Tell us about what happened before. How has things changed since then? And typically that will have a similar effect on your audience. Transfer it away. We've got handouts here that you can have to write on, and if you're a millennial, I have pens somewhere if we can give you a pen. We're going to share this in a PowerPoint as well, but these handouts are for you to keep to write on. Those are beautiful pictures. Let's go to the one that's got all the letters.
Want a handout?
The other PowerPoint. Preview. Challenge. Okay, I believe in the easiest way to remember a presentation, remember the words that you want to share that's important to you. I put this together from the numerous mentors I've had throughout Toastmasters in the world. First, we have to start with what was identified, the emotional connection. So your heart. What's the emotional connection? What's the emotion that happens for you at the time? And it's easier to remember that point in time. Ellie, what's the emotion connection a year and a half ago when I gave you a book? She said, wouldn't it be cool if I could come to New Zealand? And I just shared this really smart aleck little book that I have that I share with people around the world. It's part of another keynote. It's called How to Pickpocket for Fun and Profit. It's how I get places on an airplane. When you sit on an airplane and you know all these big guys sitting next to you, and I'm trying, wait, I paid for all my space. Well, I pull out a book. It says How to Pickpocket for Fun and Profit. Guess what? They make space for me. They make space for me. That's an emotional connection, an emotional reminder. So Ellie and I share that moment in time. So I use H, hat. Look at this power up down. One of the magic rays. One with technology, and we remember every presenter. And if your technology is no longer a tool that helps you, get rid of that tool. Most important point on here is the B button or the black button. So I like to use hat. I'm known as the man in a hat. Pretty obvious. There's only a few other people in the room wearing a hat. The Panama style hat. It comes from Ecuador. Many people want to know why. That's where I bought it. I got several good hats from Ecuador. Started speaking in my Toastmasters Club wearing my hat. And I was speaking at a high school, and two boys pointed at me in the hallway and says, "There goes that guy from first period who talked about penguins from Antarctica. The man in the hat." My marketing brain kicked in. The man in the hat. So I locked up the man in the hat. It's easy. Oh, we've got handouts, everybody. Ooh, we spilled their champagne. Okay, hat. Heart. It's the easiest way for me to remember. Heart should be the emotional or the authentic truth. What's authentically true for you? I restate that. What is authentically true for you? You were there at the moment of time. Nobody can tell you what was different. A is the action. What was the change from that time? What changed and how will you be different? How will an audience be different? How will somebody hearing that message be different? So there's always got to have a change. What changed? What will be different? T, because I like that, H-A-T, T, and this is all written down for you to keep. And she's given me like 17 pieces of paper, and I hope one of those is like a dance card, so we can go dance. I do love to share dance. Time. Yes, take my wife, please. I've heard that before. From taller, bigger gentlemen than you did. Time. Now, I can be better because that change has happened. So when I asked Barbara about that, now how did she change? What was the change and the excitement? The cool thing as a presenter or speaker that many of us here in Toastmasters are doing, we would like to assist somebody else for their life to improve, to be a mentor in such a way. So if it changed for me, then most likely it can change for someone else. So you can make that connection. So how can it change for someone else? As Craig shared earlier, I've been studying story, the art of story. I'm a professional storyteller in classrooms. In Colorado, we do this in elementary schools, primary schools. Oral storytelling, not just reading a book, but oral storytelling. It works. It's marvelous. And it really changed how things can be. I enjoy that, and they have made me better. Because a kid is honest. Has anybody ever noticed that? Telling a story, and I'm going along, and all of a sudden, the 7-year-old in the front, named Elena, looks at me and says, "But you said that store was red." Yeah, I did. And when I came back through the other direction, it was painted green on the other side. I was authentically true. Storyline. I encourage all of us to think of every presentation, everything we share, in a storyline. Now, story is very simple. Think of story as a character who has a goal. We're going to use Barbara as our example. Barbara had a goal to come to an event and be excited about who or what she might meet, things she might see. So that was her character, and her goal was excitement of not knowing who might change her life. She didn't say that part, but you could hear it in her anticipation. But what was the conflict or barrier that prevented Barbara, up until that moment of time, of finding someone? Because she used very specific words. What was her barrier from finding that new connection? Not knowing anybody, that was one. And often in a good story, there's more than one conflict that raises that level of, if you watch the shows on television. What's another one? And she used a very specific term. I heard it as an American. Whether people would talk to her, so that's a level, yes. She was apprehensive, yes.
You said she was Australian.
Australian, yes. In the United States, that would equate to being a Texan. I'm sorry. My sincere condolences. Now, Mark and I, we've met many a times, and now I have the right, as a native of Colorado, to pick on Texans, so you're aware of that, because I have a brother and sister both born there, I have family there, so it's picking on family is okay, until they are bigger than you are, and I'm a little brother. Okay. So that conflict, and the part that added to that was, she was Australian. Ooh, a little bit more edge. Okay. Then what was the change for her? Where did she learn, or what happened that was a hero or mentor for her to shift? Catherine, that could have been the mentor. What else? The bush, a plant could be a mentor? Is that true? A very special characteristics. Inanimate objects can have characteristics that humans value. So the plant, the mentor. Now what was the big change that happened? What changed in her attitude, her life? Michelle, you're sitting in the background. What do you thought the change was?
She saw a butterfly change from a caterpillar to a butterfly.
She saw birth. Yeah. Yeah, she saw caterpillar to a butterfly. So that was a great change, a very obvious change. So what was the resolution or close to her story? The butterfly itself, yes. The wonder of it all, yes. Like going through the looking glass, yes. I got to throw the theme and all that. She has memories on her cell phone of it, yes. No? David?
I think she was thinking
Yes. I think she's got 119 new friends that will be tracking her down and want to know where the butterflies are at. Yes. Yes.
And the connection with home, with the other butterflies.
Connection to time with the other butterflies. Because they too shall be coming forth shortly. As long as none of us go over there and poke with his head. Good, yes. Awesome, yes.
And gave us all a message. They are an endangered species. Look after them.
We learned something. They're an endangered species. The bush itself is very special. The butterflies are very, yeah. So can we have fun and learn at the same time? Okay, since I brought that up, are there any technical presenters in the room? You ever have to talk about something technical? Accountants, IT people, some of those really high excitement kind of thoughts. Can you equate it to a birth of a butterfly? Yes. What's a technical side that you play with? What's your realm?
I'm an IT architect.
An IT architect. Did I pick that out of the room pretty quickly? Yeah, IT architect. An architect is something in the computer and data world that is very unique. I've got a dear friend in Denver who is an architect, and he's now training architects to be architects in IT. This is building houses. Very Can you share what an architect is in one sentence? Hey, it's a challenge. Could you equate it into a butterfly?
Not necessarily to a butterfly, no, but in one sentence I would say that I spend a lot of time communicating ideas, and when I can't come up with them myself, I communicate other people's ideas as effectively as I can.
Communicating ideas. Would it be easier to memorize or remember the technical data when you tell it with a story?
Essentially, yes. Where you're looking for a progression of things, ideas, where you're looking for a progression of change within an organisation, IT, or how process happens within that organisation.
So Andrew is saying, because we want to be able to hear that, I'll repeat, he's saying when he's looking for progression or change in ideas and how to describe and show that. Is that kind of perfect? Yeah. So we can take something and drop in some technical things in there probably, right? And if you do it in a storyline, could you think about the world of computer architecture where we come to an unknown area and we have to finally dive off and go down the rabbit hole? And what might pop up? You might find a Mad Hatter. You might find a queen and play croquet. I mean, you could paraphrase almost everything to the whole weekend story that they're laying out here. You may have to sit down and read the whole book again, find some notes. But there's a way to do that. Is that a thought? Who else has got a very eye-opening subject you speak often about? Any tax accountants in the room? No? Any tax accountants ready to raise their hand? Most of them. Kelly?
So being engaged in the workplace,
Employment engaged employee. So showing up to work with not just your physical body, but showing up to do things.
engage is equal.
Yes. Well, engaging in a story. Right? Well, think about that. So I'd like you to take a moment, different photograph, share with somebody else. What was the moment of time before that? What was you feeling like before that moment of time? What has changed or transpired after that moment of time? And if you can do it without showing the photograph, and your partner you're sharing with, you go, I think that photograph was a butterfly. That would be amazing. I mean, this was an amazing story. Think about that. If you don't have a camera or a photograph machine with you, I call it a photo machine. Certainly not a phone, because we don't use it for a phone. Think about a specific time without telling a friend what that was. What was the day like before that? What was the day like after that? Let's go ahead and share with that, because we're going to have some announcements coming back here shortly. Interactive and ask questions of each other. What was things before? How did things change after? And how, if you shared that with a group, that might be a benefit to them. Now, several issues popped up, and I noticed, what do you think was the most common style of photograph that I saw as I walked around the room? Give a shout out.
Animals.
Family.
Selfies?
Cats.
That wasn't it, but yes.
People.
People.
Family.
Family.
Family. Families typically have an emotional connection. My family with my Texan family is an emotional connection. Lark and I can laugh about it. That's a funny side for us. But my lost brother is not so funny. But it's still an emotional connection. A family. There was a few others that I heard. People go, man, I wouldn't believe it if I hadn't seen the photograph. The authenticity of it. Now, there's also challenges of, for those, I was one like this for many years. I visited over here with, that don't use our phones to take pictures. May use them to document a data, a phone number, a website, take a picture of something where you don't write it down. But it's not because we use our brains for capturing it. And I as well for many, many years. And that's a way of doing it. So if you'll think about when we share a presentation, now this is my belief, that if you think in a storyline, you'll recall everything about it because the emotional connection of what was going on before, what was the change afterwards. And when you think about that emotional, it's just like Barbara lighting up about the butterfly. I know we all have. Any questions? I've got one more story and a short little answer that somebody asked about authenticity. Any questions about this thought, this process? I give credit to Mark Brown for showing the idea to me the first time. Okay, encourage any new Toastmaster, anybody struggling with a presentation, or if you have a presentation you're working on and you're having trouble recalling all the important words. Notice I choose that correctly. The important words that are true for you. I watched Lark share her presentation more than once, and her important words come out every time. It's never the same presentation, because she shares it with the audience in the room. That's the way we all should, in my opinion. Emotional. John, can we make this play? Let's see if I have the B button. Okay. And our volume may be coming out of the microphone. Quite often this question comes up. We're going to see how we can make this. Is less than 60 seconds. And you may have to manually tell it to play when we did rehearsal. John, whatever you need to do to kick the machine. The video itself's not playing yet. Okay, the audio's not coming through yet. You can hit replay with that. Yeah, maybe the computer's upside. Okay, so let him reset that for a moment. 2 years ago, and while Sean sets that, I'll tell you what happened. 2 years ago, I toured Ireland. Similar to what I'm doing across Australia and New Zealand. I've taken 2 months to go across New Zealand and Australia, visiting, interviewing storytellers. And it just so happens to coincide with a lot of Toastmaster friends I have here. Dennis and I go way back from Toastmasters in LA, others. It's been a blast. So I'm traveling over here and I'm like, hey, can I help at your conference or anywhere I'm at? It's been happening. Is it kicking better? I was in Ireland for 6 weeks. I did visit 12 different Toastmasters clubs. It was a blast. And can we just re-hit the whole thing one last time? It likes to play, but it doesn't like to come out. Okay, fun with technology? 5. Richard Marsh. As a storyteller, quite often, a child will be the first to spout out. As an adult, we do it. And we'll hear this marvelous story, especially when I was a kid. They'll go, is that story true? And every presenter, every storyteller comes up with their own stock answer that generally answers with authenticity, that story was true. But before he could, a young girl says, well, it may not be true on the outside, but it is on the inside. And blew me away. And out of this hour and a half sitting with him, and he wrote like 9 different books on stories of Northern Ireland, which is marvelous. Out of that hour and a half of sitting and visiting with him and a half a pint of Guinness, that 60 seconds I share around the world. Because that one moment can change that time. It's powerful. Now, do all our stories have to be uplifting and evolving like a butterfly? No. Do they all have to be downers and nothing good coming out of it? No. Can they be in between?
Yeah.
Do they have to be climbing the highest peaks in the world?
No.
Do they have to be a moment in time?
Yes.
I believe so. And when we share it with authenticity, it's easy for us to remember it. Sure. I don't always share this story but we all have tough days, yes? Toughest day in my life. I'm sitting on a bench. 9-year-old Hannah sitting next to me. We're both looking into that chapel. Neither one of us wanted to go in there. It was not the funeral we wanted to go to. Her aunt, my best friend, business partner. What does an Uncle Tom mentality guy do, right? I reach in my pocket, try to entertain the kid, let's do stuff, reach in, and I find a toy. Cool. Uncle Tom's always got a toy. So I handed it to Hannah. Little smiley guy. Next thing I know, I found out he could do backflips, he could do one-handed military push-ups. I did not know that. He must have been training. Wow, he can do amazing little things. I go, cool, Hannah. Does he have a name? Mr. Yellow. Okay, Hannah, okay. Does he have a job, a vocation? He's a travel agent. Yeah, he takes you all the great nations, you know, imagination, proliferate. Hannah, how do you know all that? I thought everybody knew that. So one of the toughest days of my life, Hannah found a way to add a smile to my world. So I keep Mr. Yellow right there close. And every time I see somebody who could utilize sharing a smile with someone else, I see that they have them. So pass Mr. Yellow forward. You too can shift the world in 3 minutes. I showed you one example. There's a lot more in this room. A butterfly example. I'm sure that didn't take 3 minutes. Go out in the world. Shift the world. We have time to do it. We can do it in table topics, right? Thank you for your time. We're going to have the announcements coming up, and things are going to shift. Just so you know, I have a few Mr. Yellows out here in the hallway. If you'd like to have a Mr. Yellow, just say you'd like to know Mr. Yellow.
Raise your hand if you'd like a Mr. Yellow.
He has his own Facebook page. His photograph was at Hobbitown 3 years ago. I was never here. Somebody else took it in there. And if you have a few copies of my books, if you wanted to share that with your club. So thank you much. Let's keep on playing. Who are there are representations for the district for tabletop? Who's the final? You got it? You ready?
I don't have it. I know you're not leaving it.
Give your name.
So what was the H? What was the A? What was the T? Time. Excellent. I've just written the children's book. I finished it 2 days ago. And I was looking through, I've got a character, I've got a goal and desire, I've got a conflict of area, I've got a mentor, child goes through change, I've got a resolution I've got. Man, I've got a storybook. And I've already read it out to Catherine Duncan. It was okay, wasn't it, Catherine?
It was great.
Yeah. And Michelle Gewitz thought it was quite funny because she laughs at anything. But as a sign of our appreciation, Tom, I think the most important thing for us is no matter how good or whatever you think you are in the sense of your status as a speaker or a Toastmaster, is that we must always remain students. There is always someone we can learn off. And I think we've all learned something off you today, Tom. So as a measure of appreciation,
change in the world.
Now, before you leave tonight, there'll be 2 evaluation forms for you to fill out. One for Lark's presentation and one for Tom's. Don't do that now. We have something else